All right, everybody, welcome back to another week of Come Get Some here, located in Fantasyland here in parts unknown. Here with my trusted co-art, Professor Chewie, as usual. Professor, how are you today?
I don't know what am I doing? Is that a gang symbol?
That means someone's hurt.
I hope
Throwing
not.
up the X.
Oh, somebody's hurt.
Somebody's hurt. Are you hurt? I can hurt you if you want me to.
I'm always hurt.
But welcome back to another week here, Come Get Some. 2 weeks out of WrestleMania, exciting stuff going on. Biggest thing in wrestling in a couple years for me, as a fan of Daniel Bryan, is the fact Daniel Bryan is back, my friend. Daniel Bryan is back, and not only is he back, but the dude is full force. He came back for a night. Upon his announcement, he already got his ass kicked and powerbombed on an apron.
He got to do some ass kicking too, though.
He did do a little ass kicking, and the guy looked good, man. He obviously has been training. He never lost a step. Just so ecstatic to see him back. He's my favorite guy. He was before he went down, and he still is. And I'm just, oh yes.
I'd be the idiot doing anything wrong.
Oh, wait till he turns heel and he goes no while everybody else does yes. Funny stuff. But anyway, congratulations to Daniel Bryan. Super excited to see him back.
I was cleared to do the show. I was.
Thank Christ.
Yeah.
They weren't going to let you on.
Nope.
Yeah, but we had you go see the best doctors in Connecticut and
specialists.
El Speciales. So we're gonna go over the WrestleMania card in just a few minutes. We're not gonna give our predictions yet. That's gonna be for next week. But we will go over the card as much as we get. So let's see. We are also on Periscope right now. We do have some comments. So happy for Daniel Bryan. Hopefully he gets his spot back on top over Roman Reigns. Well, listen, Roman Reigns. Nobody's going to take his spot. That's pretty evident and clear. It's been that way for a few years. They even did that spot a few years ago, if you remember. I know you do, because you've got that memory, where Daniel Bryan came back from his first injury after he had won the title at WrestleMania 30, was hurt, was gone for a while. Everybody wanted him in the title picture again the next year against Reigns. Against Lesnar. Reigns had won the Royal Rumble, and a lot of backlash with Rey Mysterio being the 30th entrant, and they ended up doing a match at Fastlane where it was Reigns against Bryan, and the winner would go take on Lesnar, and they made Reigns win. So I think that if the universe does what they did the last time, he'll be back on top in no time. Clearly, he's admired by everybody, and I think he's deserved to come back and be in the same spot that he was when he left. When he left, he was Intercontinental Champion. He had just won it at WrestleMania 31. So it'll be interesting to see once they do this feud with Zayn and KO, where they put him. But, I mean, there's so many fantasy matchups you could have. You know, if you think about all the guys, you know, a lot of the roster now, and it's not been a long time since Bryan's wrestled, but a lot of the roster is different now. He's never fought... I believe he's fought Rollins when Rollins was with the Shield. He had some run-ins with the Shield. So he's fought Reigns, he's fought Ambrose,
No Shinsuke.
Not in America. In fact, he was
in my backyard.
He was in. They were roommates for a time back in the day. Yeah,
that's kind of awesome.
So they know each other
sitcom.
really well. It is, yeah. But you know, think about Daniel Bryan against AJ Styles, against Shinsuke, against Bobby Roode, against. Guys like Finn Balor, guys like Seth Rollins, in a fresh feud with Rollins. With Paige and but there's so many guys that he can take on. You know, even Braun against Bryan, Cedric Alexander, some of the guys in the cruiserweight division. Just so many possibilities for him. At some point too, he's got to get his hands on the Miz. That's always gonna be interesting between the two of them. But
he stole his moves, right?
Well, the Miz was so Daniel Bryan was the internet darling. He was really famous from wrestling in Ring of Honor. He had wrestled in New Japan, Dragon Gate USA, all these different indie promotions. So when WWE signed him, it was kind of like this thing where they wanted to knock him down a peg. Like, okay, yeah, everybody loves you, but you're in our system now, pal. This is the way it goes. He would lose to guys he had no business losing to on NXT, and but I think eventually people just realized his talent, and he was able to beat The Miz. The Miz was his coach, and would always kind of dick him around, and eventually they had a feud, and Bryan beat him. Yeah.
You said around.
Whoops, you said around. They had a feud, and The Miz ended up losing the belt to Bryan, the United States Championship, and then The Miz went on to cash in his Money in the Bank and win. But nonetheless, they had a storied feud that's gone on for years, and obviously with all the stuff that happened in the last couple years with The Miz and Bryan while he was on SmackDown, it should be interesting to see if these guys ever go toe-to-toe. But definitely, that is some great news. The other big news coming out of WWE last week was the Ultimate Deletion. Now, we are big fans of Woken Matt Hardy, from before he even debuted the gimmick in WWE. Now, this was my first glimpse into seeing some signs of hope that things may be the same. Now, you finally saw his wife. You finally saw his father-in-law, Senior Benjamin. You saw Skarsgård. You even got to see George Washington, the giraffe.
Your Vanguard 1, is that the name of the...
So Vanguard 1 is the drone that flies around and gives him information. So you saw all the characters. Even Jeff came back and made an appearance, and supposedly he's backstage at Raw. So we'll see if he appears on Raw this week. We got another hello from Kiri Stepa. First day on Periscope. Well, hello to you too. Thank you. But what did you get out of the Ultimate Deletion? What did you think about it?
I thought it was... I like it because it was different.
Mm-hmm.
It was almost like partly watching a movie.
Yeah,
I know it was pre-done, but still. The only thing I was kind of hoping that, Bray would go in and then come out wearing a dress like... he could finally...
You come out as Sister Abigail?
Finally. But,
I'm from Russia. Well, very nice to hear from you here on the other side of the pond. We got to see the compound for the first time. Now, this was something that was in TNA all the time. Got to see him at home in the compound. Now
he's got a giraffe.
He's got all these different animals. He's got the Lake of Reincarnation. I love the character. I love his mannerisms. I love the way he speaks. The comedic portion of it too. It's just his face is when he says "wonderful." I don't know what it is. Like I love it. I love seeing this, and it's a rejuvenation. And to be honest with you, like him when he, Matt Hardy's never been a guy that's been great on the microphone. But I mean, how many people are better than him with this kind of gimmick, where he says all these nonsensical things, but they all seem to meld together and sort of make sense in a way. When he's talking about the pyramids of Giza. Like you don't care where they are or what they are, but it's funny as hell. His vessel, like the way he calls Bray Wyatt the consumer of terrestrial entities. He calls McMahon Meek Mahan, or like just I love it, and it's rejuvenated his career for sure. And when Jeff comes back, it'll be interesting to see if he's Brother Nero, if he's Jeff Hardy, whatever it is. But I love the Ultimate Deletion. And now, what happens with Bray Wyatt? I've been reading a lot of stuff that he's going to be repackaged. Weekend events, he came out and Matt came out and kind of said you're going to be changing soon. So it's almost like their way of explaining it to the crowd. But nonetheless, I've been hearing that the name could even be Woken Wyatt.
Okay.
So what do you think about repackaging Bray Wyatt?
He hasn't really been anything other than Bray in quite a while, right? I mean, it's just the long run is...
Yeah, since he was in WWE at first when they did the second or third season of NXT. He was Husky Harris. And he had short hair. He just had like kind of like a little, like a beard, but nothing, like an Amish beard. No mustache, just a beard. And then he went back down to NXT or Florida Championship Wrestling, whatever it was called at the time, and... he started developing this character. He had Luke Harper and Eric Rowan with him, so they were the Wyatt family down there. And then when he debuted, he was pretty much a clone of, Robert De Niro's character or who? Geez, I don't even remember who did it back in the day.
Cape Fear, Robert Mitchum?
Robert Mitchum, that's
Robert
it.
Mitchum.
It was Robert Mitchum and Gregory Peck, yeah. So pretty much, yeah. It was pretty much a reboot of that kind of a character, which was cool, like that creepy kind of... And then it evolved into something different where it wasn't so much that kind of like just creepy guy. He was just
like
a real
turn.
dark... Yeah.
Wrong turn.
Yeah, he's just like now he's a real dark, entity, something with ghosts and, like kind of thing. So
it's a little like a backwaters Undertaker or something.
Right, in a way, yeah, absolutely.
Drinking whiskey.
And we'll see another kind of character like that in a short time coming out of NXT with Aleister Black. He's more of a black magic type, but he wears suits and stuff, so he's not kind of like in that like realm of, he's very mysterious, but he's not like the dead man or like a ghostly kind of thing. But So Bray Wyatt, I think, ever since last year, he got a short run with the title just so that he could lose it to Orton at WrestleMania. They had that weird match where they had the projecting stuff coming down from the rafters. So he really hasn't had a whole lot of direction in the last year. So I think a reboot of any kind could be good, as long as they don't stray too far away from his character in some way. He can still be like a creepy dude, but maybe on the good side in some ways. Like, I don't know.
Most of his time bent over backwards doing that.
Yeah, and then he could get up and do like the Running Man or something afterwards. Who knows? But looking forward to seeing what happens with that. Now, another thing I'm looking forward to is April 27th, Saudi Arabia. We got something called the Greatest Royal Rumble, which looks to be a big event that they're putting on because it's going to be in a lavish sports stadium in Saudi Arabia. They've announced 3 matches for it already. Now it's after WrestleMania, so you got to take these with a grain of salt, and titles can change or whatnot. But the 3 matches that they've announced so far are the Hardys taking on the Bar for the Raw Tag Team Championship. I believe Triple H is going to take on John Cena in one of the other matches. And did I mention what was the other match? Seth Rollins, Samoa Joe, The Miz, and Finn Balor in a ladder match for the Intercontinental Belt. So those 3 matches are really cool. But apparently, every title is going to be on the line except the women's titles. So you're going to see the cruiserweights, the U.S. champion, the tag team championships, Intercontinental Belt, Universal, and WWE championships defended, as well as a 50-man battle royal, where there's supposedly a lot of big names rumored to be there. Undertaker has signed on for the show, possibly Jericho, and even we're hearing, which brings us to another subject, possibly Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan coming back. What do you think about that?
I think it's about time. I mean, it's weird. I saw a commercial, and they had him. Was it with him and Mr. T? It was like last week or something. So I'm like, wow.
Jeez, I don't know. I didn't even see that.
Yeah, if WWE is showing commercials with him, then I think.
Oh, WWE showing them. Yeah. And they had some stuff with Hillbilly Jim as well.
Yeah.
I think they've been slowly but surely kind of like integrating some more Hogan stuff back in, maybe to throw out feelers to see if people complain. Or one thing I did read was why do you have Hogan in the goddamn commercial? I did read an article about Mark Henry kind of saying that he's in some kind of delegation, they call it, where there's African American wrestlers throughout the world, and that they talk about these things, and it seems like for the in his side of it, that the black folks are not ready yet to accept him back into wrestling, or I don't know. It's probably subjective. For me, I mean, people say stuff all the time that they don't mean, especially when they're behind closed doors, and that's when you really hear people. But nonetheless, it's taken a lot of time. He's lost a lot of money, and I'm sure friends because of it. People can change, and I'm all about second chances. And plus, Hogan was my hero growing up, so I hope to see him back selfishly in a ring. But he definitely would need to do some work, maybe some charity work, maybe some mending fences in physically and in mentally. So
those shirts that he rips. Has he ever not been able to rip something? Has he ever been like,
I don't know. I've never seen him struggle, but I'm sure there's been times where he hasn't gotten... There's got to be at least a time or two where he hasn't completely been able to rip it off, or something got stuck, or who knows.
Should have worn this fleece.
So Hogan, hopefully he'll come back. Same with Hardy and Samoa Joe. We just mentioned that they're both on the greatest Royal Rumble card. So hopefully we'll get them back. They're both cleared, and they were both in buildings at some point. Jeff is at Raw tonight. Samoa Joe was at Raw starting last week, so we'll see if those guys come back. Injury status for AJ Styles. There were a lot of rumors coming around, especially with Daniel Bryan getting cleared, that if he wasn't ready to go because of this leg injury that he has, that they would possibly insert Daniel Bryan in to fight Shin. Now, that would be unfriggin' real. But at the same time, I love AJ as well, and I don't want to see him not be able to compete. And I am looking forward to him against Shin.
Yeah.
So it seems that his injury has subsided somewhat, or it's dealable for right now. I'm assuming his biggest goal is to be able to defend the championship at WrestleMania.
To take a knee to face?
Knee to face.
Knee to face.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm looking forward to that match. I'm sure Shinsuke is going to win it, but I mean, geez, that's going to be unbelievable.
That would be a great shirt. Do they have one yet?
Knee to face?
Knee to face, just like knee plus, and then the face, you know what I mean?
I would wear it. Why not? I mean, what am I wearing now? Just a black T-shirt.
So am I.
Paul Heyman is to induct Goldberg into the Hall of Fame. Now, these guys are close, actually. Goldberg and Brock are good friends in real life.
Is that what HOF stands for?
It is.
I thought it was like House of Flapjacks.
It could be.
House of Flapjacks.
He's going to induct Goldberg into the House of Flapjacks. Goldberg going in. Obviously, the only feud that Goldberg's really had in the last 10, 15 years is against Brock. Well, he had that short thing with KO just to get the belt, but it's people don't realize that he has a close relationship with Brock and Heyman, but nonetheless, Heyman to induct Goldberg, so we can definitely look forward to a great speech there.
My client.
And speaking of Lesnar, what'd you think of his beatdown of Reigns last week on Raw?
It was pretty brutal, but I think they kind of needed to do that because they're doing everything they can to get people on, Reigns' side. Cause
it's just not working. And I'm pretty sure it's not going to work
Dear
either.
God.
People are going to like who they want to like. Reigns has been force-fed. Now, I'm not a Reigns hater, but at the same time, listen, I understand people's frustration. There's other guys that they want to see in these spots, and, it's like no matter what you think, this is what Vince wants, and this is what's going to happen. And Reigns deserves it. The guy's supposedly the locker room leader like The Undertaker was. The guy puts on great matches. I have no problem with it. I do think that that it's hard, though, when you're trying to... And everybody knows this is exactly what's happening. Now, it kind of blurred the lines with Lesnar, like, missing dates, and, you don't know if WWE said, just stay home for now. We're going to do the shoot stuff, and we're going to really build some heat. But you know what? He comes out and he beats Reigns' ass, and then they're chanting, thank you, Lesnar.
Yeah,
it's like, well, it's not
they were
working.
Saying you deserve it.
Yeah, right. That's what they were doing. Right. So, at the same time, it's just, that's not working. So what do you have to do? Well, he's going to have to just prove himself in the ring. He's going to have to just keep doing what he's doing. Eventually what's going to happen is he's going to turn heel, and people are going to boo him, and then naturally start cheering him when he becomes a face or whatever happens. And we've been saying this for years. That's what needs to happen. So, listen, he's going to have the belt, and then apparently he's going to feud with Samoa Joe afterwards, so we'll see what happens with that. So that's the news we've got. So we're going to go over quickly the WrestleMania card that we have so far that we know. So far we've got the two battle royals. It's no longer the Moolah because she was a pimp.
I did not know that.
Me neither. But
that's kind of crazy.
So we got the women's battle royal. First ever. So far it's not many entrants, but it's basically going to be everybody that's not in a title match. So Sasha, Natalya, Becky Lynch, Naomi, Ruby Riott, Sarah Logan, Liv Morgan. There's going to be tons of people from NXT. Don't be surprised if they don't announce too many people because some will probably be surprises and some will be from NXT. Andre the Giant, unbelievable list of people already signed up. We've got Dash Wilder and Scott Dawson of the Revival. Wow. Baron Corbin, Mojo Rawley, and Ty Dillinger. Now, I can't think of 5 other people in WWE that I could care less about. Now, I actually like Ty Dillinger and I like the Revival.
Corbin's all right.
But I mean, selling he's... I don't know, I'm tired of him already.
That shake.
Yeah. Floppy hat. Corbin, I'm not...
Mojo
crazy
Rawley?
about Corbin. If he'd show me something, he turned heel and he's the same guy. So I don't know. Ty Dillinger, they're not letting him do the 10 chants anymore. They don't want the crowd chanting it.
What, they don't?
No.
Seriously?
They don't.
Why not?
I don't know.
That was
they don't want it. They don't want the 10 chants. And at house shows, he's been working as a heel. So I think he's going to eventually turn heel. They just don't want that to be the case. I don't know why. I think the match of the night, if it's not going to be AJ and Shinsuke, is actually going to be the Cruiserweight Championship. Cedric Alexander and Mustafa Ali are unfriggin' real. And not only that, but this is going to be a good showcase for them because a lot of people aren't watching 205 Live. When they're on Raw, maybe that's their bathroom break, or if they're DVRing it, they're fast-forwarding it. But, man, these two guys can go, and they've wrestled each other before, and it's one of the best matches you've seen in a long time. And I really can't wait for this match. I'm actually really looking forward to it, and I think they'll have an awesome crowd for it. The WrestleMania crowd is always the best of the year. They're coming from all over the place. It's the most hardcore fans, so I can't wait for that one. Cesaro and Sheamus against Braun Strowman and a partner to be announced. Any thoughts on the partner?
It says TBA. I think it should be a new guy, and his name should be TBA.
Ah, and TBA.
TBA, to be announced.
The ball bag addict.
What
I don't know, I'm sorry. there's so many different things. You could think maybe it's going to be Samoa Joe and then
Hogan.
Listen, could Jericho? It could be anybody at this point. You try to think about people who are not on the card yet, and you think of Matt Hardy, but I don't know if that's the right spot for him, especially with Jeff coming back. I don't really know. And could be somebody from NXT, like a Drew McIntyre, who's cleared to wrestle. It could be anybody, really. The fact that we don't know is a good thing, because usually when they have something kind of set in stone, you hear about it right away. Oh, Braun's partner is going to be this guy. And I don't know if they'll win, but I'm looking forward to that. Orton versus Rude versus Jinder for the U.S. Championship. We knew we were going to get that. I am actually glad they did this in a way, because at first it was just Orton versus Rude, but I think Jinder, how can you have the guy be champion for half the year and then leave him off WrestleMania? So I'm happy that the guy's got a spot. We just missed a comment. I'm so sorry. If you could just write what you just wrote again so that we could see it and answer your question, I apologize. I missed the screen. Miz versus Finn versus Seth Rollins Intercontinental Championship. You looking forward to this one?
Yeah, I like all those guys. I mean, the Miz, he's still one of the best on the mic.
For sure. No, not even a question. The Miz is completely entertaining, and no matter whatever happens, I just never feel like the guy gets his due. Yeah. Because he'll get plenty of time to be on TV, but at the same time, he loses a lot. As much as he's brought prestige, I guess, to the Intercontinental belt, he really hasn't at the same time. Like, I don't think, like, when I was younger and the Intercontinental Championship was going to be defended, it was reserved for that next guy, like that guy that's just on the cusp and he's coming up and he'll be the next guy. Like, so, for instance, when Hogan was the champion, Macho Man was the Intercontinental Champion, and then he lost it to Steamboat, and then Steamboat lost it to Honky Tonk Man. Honky Tonk Man lost it to the Ultimate Warrior, who lost it to Rick Rude and then won it back. And I can go on, but it meant something. It was huge. The ultimate, it was for that next guy coming up. Like, it was that coronate. They did that up until the Attitude Era. Like, Stone Cold was the most popular guy, yet the Undertaker and Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart were in the main events. And Stone Cold was fighting Owen Hart for the Intercontinental belt, but he was the most popular guy. It's reserved for that next up and coming guy to get a little taste of what it's like to hold a championship, and then propel you to the next level once you lose it. You lose that belt, now you're onto the main event scene. And the Miz, it's hard when you've got a guy or guys that they do this with. It could happen to all three of these guys that are in this match. They've all been champion before. The Miz was the only guy who was Intercontinental Champion or U.S. Champion before he won a title. Rollins won the title before he did anything else other than tag team. And Finn Balor won the Universal Championship at his first pay-per-view. So, it's almost like a step down, just like Daniel Bryan. He wins the championship at WrestleMania 30. WrestleMania 31, he's wrestling for the Intercontinental belt. It's just like one of those things that they throw in for people who they just don't know what to do with for a little while. Whereas it should be kind of something more than that. And same with the U.S. belt. Alexa Bliss versus Nia Jax. Most likely going to see Nia finally get her first title. We'll predict that next time. But Alexa has been carrying it like a champ. She is the champ. She's awesome, and she deserves everything that she gets. She's held it down, and I hope that she stays in the main event scene for a while. Women's match, though, that everybody's looking forward to, Charlotte versus Asuka. That's going to be awesome. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't even know who to pick on this one.
Well, Smart Money says Asuka is not going to lose the streak. I've actually read that what the plan is, because they've been doing a lot of this now, where they kind of plan out WrestleMania the year before. Like last year, they knew the day after WrestleMania, okay, we're working towards Lesnar versus Reigns. A couple years, before that. They did it with Cena and The Rock. The night after WrestleMania, they booked that match a year in advance. So what I've been reading is that Asuka's going to win, and that she's going to hold the belt and her undefeated streak for the entire year, really? And they're going to build up Rousey, and next year at WrestleMania, Asuka Rousey. I hope that happens, but I really feel that Rousey needs to be ready. Like, I almost feel like when I think of Rousey wrestling, right now she's not nearly where she needs to be. And I'm not saying that from a training standpoint or anything. I just mean in general, the package. You see her, she's not comfortable on the mic yet. She hasn't even wrestled a match. I compare it to almost like Ken Shamrock or even The Rock. Like, Rock wasn't an MMA guy, but he's positioned in this way. It's like, and nothing is working for the guy until he turns heel and finds himself on the mic, and then he finds himself in the ring. Guys like Ken Shamrock, they come in and they're not used to this world first, and it takes them a little time, but eventually they become wrestlers. They're not MMA guys anymore, they're wrestlers, and I'm hoping that's what happens with Rousey. She finds her character. I mean, right now she doesn't have a character other than being a famous MMA chick. Yeah. She needs to find her WWE kind of niche, and I think she will. She seems like a quick learner. I've been watching some videos on her this week training, and they look pretty good. But Ronda Rousey and Kurt Angle will take on Stephanie and Triple H, and what should be a pretty entertaining match. I mean, Stephanie's really the only one that is not technically a wrestler, but she's held her own in the ring before, and it'll be a good compliment with Rousey because Rousey's not really a wrestler yet. So, but to see Kurt Angle and Triple H in the ring is going to be awesome.
That's cool. Actually, I saw some footage, or there was something where Stephanie was being coached by the guy who beat Kimbo Slice.
Yes.
Seth Petroselli.
Yes. So they're her and I believe her and Triple H both train with him and some other guys, but they do late night training sessions because they have kids and whatnot, and obviously a job. But yeah, Stephanie works out. I mean, Stephanie was actually not heavy. I'm heavy. Stephanie had gained weight though. There was a period of time where she was definitely heavier than she is now. And they didn't show her on TV, and even if they did, it was very brief, or they'd show her from the waist up. And she did a ton of work to get to where she is now. She looks amazing. I mean, she's beautiful. She doesn't look her age for sure. She's definitely like in her late 40s. And
late 40s?
Yeah, she was a kid during maybe not late 40s, maybe early to mid 40s. I don't know. But either way, she's stunning. She's beautiful.
She looks strong. She's She's
you don't even realize how strong and buff Vince is when he comes out. You can tell he's big, but like when the guy has his shirt off and he's jacked, you're like, whoa, I didn't even realize. But Stephanie works out. Her husband's Triple H. I mean, Jesus. So that is going to be exciting to see, and I think Stephanie will be able to hold her own. She's been in the business forever. She's wrestled. She's a former women's champion, so it's not like she's never done it. So she'll be okay. AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Yeah. I mean, looking forward to this one like crazy. What about you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, how could this be bad? I can't.
It won't be. And if it's anything like their Wrestle Kingdom match a few years ago, it's going to be amazing. I mean, they wrestled for about a half hour. Shinsuke got the win. It was for the IWGP Intercontinental title, I believe, and AJ had it, and Shinsuke won it from him. But, I mean, an unbelievable match. I had never really heard of Shinsuke before that, but that's the match that I think a lot of people were introduced to Shinsuke with. And obviously that's one of the reasons WWE signed him, and I can't wait for this one. Reigns versus Lesnar.
That's not even on this list.
So it's on mine. I had to write it down. See?
Oh my God.
Reigns versus Lesnar. Well, it's backwards for you Periscope people, but for you guys it's not. Anyway, Reigns versus Lesnar, the match a year in the making. Second time they're meeting. They had a match at WrestleMania 31. Seth Rollins interfered, cashed in his Money in the Bank. What do you think about this match?
I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I think both are like great superstars, and like you said before, I'm like a fan of Reigns. I like Reigns. Mm-hmm. I don't love him, but I definitely don't hate him like some people.
Right. I mean, everything is force fed. Whether it's the promos, like you want to believe that they're shoots, but you know that they're not. So you're like, all right, he's being told to say these things. However, though, I mean, the guy delivers it good. He's great in the ring. He's got the look. One of the things about him too is that he, out of the three guys in the Shield, he's the only one that kind of still is the Shield. So what I mean by that is his outfit hasn't changed. He still wears the tactical gear. His music is still the Shield music, except for at the beginning of the Shield music, it's like Alpha, rubber, Shield. So it's the same song.
You just say Reigns.
Like, so he doesn't even, he's never kind of broken away from the Shield fully. Like, Seth Rollins has his own outfit. Even Dean Ambrose, as much as I can't stand his whole thing.
I like Dean.
I like Dean himself. I think he's a good wrestler too, but I'm sick of his over-the-top, shticky, insane guy thing. And his wrestling gear. I mean, he wears, a ratty, white or black wife beater and jeans. Like, be a wrestler. Like, he's not like, you don't take him seriously as this lunatic. Like, I don't know. I don't personally, but I like him. I think he can go.
He's crazy.
Yeah. So
they both have good music, though. I like
I'm not a huge fan of Ambrose's music. It's it's got that the car starting or the motorcycle, whatever. He's never ridden a motorcycle to the ring, so is he into cars? I don't know. Is he into motorcycles? We don't know. He's the lunatic fringe, so a motorcycle sound, that's fitting.
Maybe a tiny motorcycle. He's so crazy that...
And even Rollins to a certain degree, and I love Rollins, but like the whole burn it down, it's not a gimmick, it's just something they put in the song. Now he's got the tights. Like he doesn't, but he's another guy like Edge that really doesn't need a gimmick. But then Edge had the rated R superstar. He had the whole thing with Lita where he was, rated R. It made sense. So he's the architect. He's the architect of the Shield, and he's the one that left. So that's where he gets the nickname.
Burn it down is actually the opposite of what an architect is.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Build it up. Something, but whatever.
Go to jail.
Arson rules. But anyway, so that's our WrestleMania card, and that's pretty much all we've got for this week. But definitely stay tuned. We know you cannot wait until next week when we actually give our WrestleMania predictions. Biggest show of the year. We'll also give our NXT TakeOver predictions. Cannot wait for NXT TakeOver. Always steals the show. Any parting words for the people, Professor?
Yeah, actually, speaking of Seth Rollins, I was just thinking about how well he's doing. How he did so great with the Gauntlet, and I feel like his cred is not that he didn't have good cred before, but I feel like he's rising.
Stock has risen.
His stock has risen, and I was thinking about his curb.
Yeah, I like Seth. I like him. I'm not a big fan of Ambrose, but I definitely love Seth. And he's one of the best in the ring by far.
Absolutely, and they just brought back the curb stomp.
It's a plus.
I was trying to think of something that would be even crazier, and I was thinking of maybe the flaming bag of dog poo stomp, where he puts a bag over your head and lights it on fire and just keeps.
Now that's hardcore.
Yeah, that's pretty.
That's
bad.
like a Mick Foley spot right there.
He's probably done that.
It could be.
Yeah.
Could be the big. You just ran through a big pile of dog shit. It happens. All right. Anyway, so that's all we've got for you guys this week. Enjoy. Cold as shit poop. Enjoy SmackDown and Raw. Enjoy NXT. Enjoy everything. Mixed Match Challenge. Whatever else you've got. 205 Live. Enjoy it all. We'll be back to talk to you next week with WrestleMania. But until then, Dr. Rips, Professor Chewie, come get some.
Butterfly heart. What was that? Fist. I meant fist.
Dog poop.